beat the piss out of Oprah and lock her up, and she's away for a while, all for defending herself from letting a lady try to take her kids and punching this white lady out. Okay, who do you like better, Will Smith or Chris Rock?
He slapped the out of him.
Big Willie Stallone.
He actually slapped.
Plus, he's a Philly guy too. You always got to show
that
love.
too. Like I wasn't from West Philly, but Philadelphia born and raised, so it kind of sucks. Germantown and Shelton is like literally down the block, and I hate to say this, but in high school, like me and my one friend would leave and go to Germantown and Shelton, and one time I left, and like this is when Germantown High was still in session. I literally have left school, like I've left my independent Quaker school, like, oh my gosh, here we go. Walk down to Germantown and Shelton and watch a Germantown High fight where this guy threw another guy through the window of Dunkin' Donuts. So it's like, again, it was really like
Fun
literally
stuff.
the best of both worlds.
All right, on the show today, we have the one and only Alexandra Brown. She's a friend of mine from my office. I'll tell you, dude, I talk about it on the show, but I just love the hell out of this girl. She's just super cool, down to earth, really funny, and really knowledgeable. Great people person, great, very talkative. Justin, I really enjoyed this episode. What about you?
I had a good old time. She's fun. You're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn about the movie Colored Purple.
Yeah, you are.
That's a good time.
And you're going to learn about it from someone you didn't think you would learn about it from. Tell you that. No, this one was a lot of fun. Really excited to have her on. And I really like where we went with a lot of this stuff, because she was very open about different topics that we usually don't get to explore on this show. We have explored it, but like I like being able to talk about it in like a controlled fashion. But I'll tell you, no, she was like so much fun, and awesome. Yeah, awesome. So without any further ado, this is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, he's Justin Richardson, and our guest is the one and only Alexandra Brown. Enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, come to you today by JDubs Justin Richardson. Our guest today, let me talk about this. You know, I haven't done this in a while, and I want to talk about it. Justin, let me tell you a little bit about our guest today, Alexandra Brown, aka Alex Brown, aka A Money, aka AJ Strong, aka AJ Pre, aka son of Malik, brother Malik, whatever. So when you work in an office, right? And office is tough. Not necessarily the work itself is tough, which some of it can be. It can be draining mentally, and not really that physically, but mentally for sure. But there's a lot of inner office politics. But you run into some people in an office where you're like, all right, we're in. This person gets it. We're cool. I can be a human in front of this person and not a robot, and like joke and make fun. But also, like, if you work in an office, I feel like people that work recognize other people that also work, right? So it's like, I'll like they're dependable. You can work with them and all this stuff. So when I was working in the office, I remember I must have talked to our guests over the phone probably 200 times, right? 200 times. And then one day, like, I'm standing, like, we were in different parts of our office. And one day I'm like standing outside the restroom, and you know, she walked by, and I was like, oh, excuse me. And then she looked at me, she's like, Matt? And I'm like, Alex, is this you? You know, and it was just great. Two star-crossed lovers crossing in the night, no big deal. But ever since then, she's been my straight up homie. She's just the best. Super excited to have her here. Can't thank her enough for being here. Alex, thanks for being on the show. Before we get started, I would just like to ask, what movie do you think is better, The Godfather Part 1 or The Godfather Part 2?
My husband's going to shoot me. I haven't seen either.
Wow. You know, not surprising. Not surprising. Do you have a movie that you think you've seen the most in your life?
A couple. I do have a few.
Okay.
I would probably say Training Day is one.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
That is definitely one. And
what is all right, quick question. What is better, Denzel? Training Day Denzel is great Denzel. That
Top
is
tier.
top tier Denzel. I'm trying to think of what Denzel compares to Training Day. I mean, I was thinking Remember the Titans came across,
Yeah.
briefly.
Q.
John Q, Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
God, there's another
Man
one.
on Fire is pretty good too.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Man on Fire.
Yeah.
He was incredible in Man on Fire. That was a
Absolutely
great movie.
stunning. Absolutely
Dude, shout out
stunning.
Dakota Fanning. Yeah.
And now they're like reconnecting again in the Equalizer 3. So that's kind of cool. Like 19 years later. So that's like really kind of cool.
Oh man, it's almost like a multiverse of Denzel. God, there's one Denzel movie Glory.
Ugh, that's a good one.
Glory Denzel and Training Day Denzel.
What's the movie
that's what?
Where he's blind and it's
Dude.
like the apocalypse.
No.
Book of Eli. Book of Eli.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
No, dude, if you haven't seen Glory, honestly, I remember watching Glory and being like, damn, like I was like 10 years old and I was like, whoa, this is impressive. Like
that's a good one. Book of Eli is pretty good.
Book of Eli is good. I never saw Fences. I
didn't see that one either, and I think the only one that I haven't really like, where I was like, okay, Denzel, maybe he was a little tired. Have you ever seen Airplane? That one was decent.
Oh, the one where he
was a drunk pilot or something.
No, it's called Flight. It's not called
Flight. That's what it's called. Flight. You're right. I'm sorry. My bad. But yeah,
movie with
I was like, Airplane with John Candy.
No, so I think that's like the only one where I was like questionable, but Training Day was like one of my dad's favorite movies, and it's been a staple in my life ever since.
Oh, dude, I love Training Day. Dude, how many like one-liners have come out of Training Day? Like, didn't know you like to smoke wet.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Oh, that's the big one.
My favorite is I will put a case on you. My favorite is you made mother. That one gets me every time. I'm like, yeah.
I'll put a case
some people
on
out
all
here,
you. Yeah.
Some of y'all, all of y'all, some of y'all.
Love that he's cracking out of Newport too. Just so good. Yeah. He murdered it in that movie. There's another couple lines in there that are just real good.
Absolutely. I'm surgical with this, Jake. That's a good one. That's a good. We actually just saw reels with that.
That was a good.
That's a good one.
American History. What is it?
American Gangster.
American Gangster. With,
that was a good one.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was a
and wasn't he Malcolm X too?
He was. Yeah,
that was years ago. Yeah, that was before.
Oh, Hurricane. He was Hurricane too. Hurricane was really good. Yeah, man. Yeah, great stuff. Hey, shout out Denzel, fan of the show, listener of the show, big time.
And deal.
Yeah. So nice. All right, so let's keep it moving. When it comes to Cheetos, Alex, crunchy or puffed?
Typically crunchy, but depending on the mood, I'll do puffs.
Right.
I mean, I have a 1.5-year-old, so obviously puffs are better for him. But
you're getting a lot of pirate booty with the 1.5-year-old.
I love pirate's booty.
Shout out pirate booty.
And I mean the chips, not like booties of an actual pirate or anything.
Right. You don't see many booties of a pirate anymore, but I'll tell you, pirate booty. Shout out, fan of the show, listener of the show. That's some quality snack right there.
Good snacks and healthy.
Yeah. I love a good kid snack every once in a while. Like they got those kids mini muffins. I'll steal them from my daughter all day.
Oh, you don't just buy them for yourself and like offer them? Because I just buy them for me, and then he's like, "Can I have one?" I guess, but
if I have to feed you, I will. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, no, okay, then next question: when it comes to theme parks, do you like a water park or an amusement park?
Can I have both? Does it have to be an option?
It's America. You have to choose.
water park for sure.
Wow, you hearing this, Justin?
What?
Wow.
I like the water. I'm part mermaid. If no one ever knew, like
I know.
You know how like Haley is like the new Little Mermaid. Like I started that, just FYI. So definitely water park for me.
Who's Haley?
Haley, the new Little Mermaid.
Oh.
Who's actually she's not a twin. She has a sister, Haley and Chloe. They're Beyonce's prodigies, and they spent a lot of time like learning and performing and training with Beyonce. And now Chloe has her own kind of musical situation. She's got a couple of albums, maybe like one album out with a lot of good singles. And then Haley kind of fell into like the filmmaking role. She's the newest Little Mermaid. You know how like the whole controversy of this black Little Mermaid, that's her. And now she's also in The Color Purple. So Beyonce like bred these
Damn.
girls, and now they're out like making names for themselves across the world.
We should call them
They're
Preonces.
remaking the.
Ho! That was a good one. Yeah, she's in the remake of The Color Purple. She's Celia's
Did you ever
sister.
see the OG Color Purple? First
Of
off,
course.
shout out Danny
Yeah,
Glover, right? That's a dude that does not get enough credit. Danny Glover is a phenomenal
Dude, he beat the
actor.
Predator. What do you mean? How have you
Danny
ever
Glo-
underestimated
Wait,
Danny
wait,
Glover?
wait. Danny Glover? Or are you talking about Carl Weathers?
You see? Have you seen Predator 2?
No.
No.
Oh, well, who do you think they called when the Predator came to the city?
Was it DG?
They
Lethal
called
Weapon
Danny
himself?
Glover.
Old Murdoch? They call him
Yeah.
Old Murdoch?
You don't Danny Glover. I love Danny Glover.
Love Danny Glover.
When you need something
Love
done,
good
when
Danny
when
Glover.
the Predator breaks into the lower, I don't know where it was. It might have been the Bronx for all I know.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, Danny
Shout
Glover
out Danny
outsmarted
Glover,
the
fan of the
Predator.
show, listener
Arnold
to the show.
Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover
I
outsmarted
feel like
the Predator.
Danny Glover doesn't get his due and proper. He was flying high on the Lethal Weapons, doing great with them. You know,
Angels
he had
in the outfield.
he was Angels in the
In the outfield,
Outfield.
yeah.
Great movie.
He's the father I always wanted.
He was in this old Western called Silverado when he was real young. Really good movie. Him and Scott Glenn and Kevin Costner and Brian Dennehy. Fantastic film. But he was in that. He was in, there's another one that I'm missing. Oh, he was the bad guy in Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. I mean, spoiler if you haven't seen it. But Danny Glover also was in The Color Purple, which weird movie. Weird movie. Also,
it's intense.
Yeah. Oh, it's intense. Shout out Whoopi.
Honestly,
shout out Whoopi.
And Oprah. She did her thing.
Diddy
a-
whooping up on her. What was her husband's name again? Harlow or something?
I have a question that probably many of our
Harpo.
listeners will have. As a white guy who's never seen The Color Purple, what's it about and why is it so cool and like as fast as you can?
You know what, Alex? Would you let me? Please?
Yes, have it.
I would like Justin to hear it from a white male what I think The Color Purple is about. So, Justin, the scene is thus: we're looking at rural South, turn of the century, right? We're looking at we'll say like early 1900s, late 1800s, right? Like that time era. Cars are around, cars are new, horses are still around.
All
We're
I can
in
picture
rural.
is Oprah in a head wrap sitting on like a front porch of like an old house.
You're close. You're getting there. You're getting there.
So
you're getting it. You're getting it.
Post Civil War America, right? Where Jim Crow is very much in effect, right? The race is still a big thing. But okay. So, but also they're like rural South. You have Whoopi, it's Whoopi and her sister. She has an older sister, and they're in an area where there's not too many women and there's a bunch of men. And kind of Danny Glover is kind of, God, it's so creepy if you look back on it, like how he gets with these two. You know, he gets with the sister first, then the sister leaves, right? And
like
then
it's sold to Africa or something.
Yeah, like she gets pieced out, right? And I believe she has a kid too. Am I correct? Okay, and it's Danny's kid, right? And then Danny Glover is like this farmer. He owns his own farm. He's an older guy, but he represents like stability and he has like somewhat comfort, but he's also like a bastard, right? Like he is a total bastard. So he gets he coaxes the sister. The sister's like a young girl when he coaxes her into, doing the dirty. Then she pieces out. So he's like, fine, I'll go with the younger sister, which is Whoopi. Right? Whoopi Goldberg. And Whoopi's like real shy, quiet. First time she ever spoke back to Danny Glover, he stopped that back talk early. You know what I'm saying? Like, he let her know this is business in this house. And she never back talked again. One of the culminating scenes of the movie is when, oh man,
you do right by me.
Well, not even that. When she spits in his water, in his lemonade or water or whatever, and gives it to him, and can't help but laugh, right? And then, but that's just the kind of she would have to get her digs in there. She would shave the guy. There was a scene where she went to shave him and could have slit his throat and didn't, and that kind of stuff is there. But then Oprah comes in, and Oprah had older brothers. And Oprah was linebacker. This was linebacker Oprah, right? So Oprah wasn't getting picked by, the star quarterback. She was getting picked by,
she was the star quarterback at this point.
She was legit. She was the toughest son of a bitch in that whole county. But she you know, a lot of it reflects around how like women are constantly harassed in like once they get to a certain age, it's like nonstop harassment from men, right? Like they're just constantly harassed and constantly victimized and constantly like sexually assaulted in time. So, you know, Oprah comes up and she ain't having it because she's fighting back and she's whooping some ass. She ends up marrying Danny Glover's son, Harpo, right? And Harpo was Danny Glover's son from a previous marriage, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
think
not
so.
Whoopi's son,
Mm-mm.
right? So ends up marrying Harpo, right? And like Harpo ain't man enough for Oprah. Oprah running the shit, but then Harpo, he gets dug into a lot by his dad because he's like Oprah run the shit. And then, you know, I remember there was like a culminating scene too where Oprah, you know, Whoopi Goldberg's character told Harpo to beat Oprah to like get her in line, and then she confronted Whoopi about it. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
motherfucker, I've had to fight off my brothers. I've had to fight off this man and this man. And you tell my fucking husband to hit me, fuck you, because you're fucking afraid to fight back. And I fight, like all that shit. Right. And then eventually what happens is Oprah so like it kind of shows like the fanaticism around racism in a way where there's a scene where this like prominent white lady, right, sees Oprah's kids, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I want your kids. They're so cute. I want them. I want them to like come work and live with me. And Oprah's like, no, like you're not getting my fucking kids. And this lady's doing all this shit. And eventually Oprah clocks her. And then the men, like a bunch of white men, come and beat the piss out of Oprah and lock her up. And she's away for a while, all for defending herself from letting a lady try to take her kids and punching this white lady out. Right. So like they really gave it to her. She then gets like beaten into submission in a way
Mm-hmm.
and gets sent back to, you know, once she comes out of prison, is beaten into submission. Then it kind of triggers something in Whoopi Goldberg, seeing like this once like very strong, proud being be, you know, submissive, and she kind of sees a reflection of herself being beaten into obedience, and she sees that and is like, is that what I am? And she realized it is. And then she then stands up for herself against Danny Glover, saying, you ain't shit without me. You can't do shit without me. You're lazy. You're old. You're stupid. Your schmeck ain't working. Right. And then that gets Oprah out of her stupor. And she's no
Mm-hmm.
longer like, I'm like, yeah, let's go fuck these dudes. You know, man, they can shove it. And then they kind of like, you know, it goes off into the distance from there. But that's kind of the gist. And yeah, so I hope I
There's
didn't ruin
also
it
a
for you.
little bit of like lesbian action a little bit because one of this, like, she's a singer, like kind of like a jazz
Oh, I
performer,
did
and
forget
she
about
comes
the
back and she
singer
like gives
because Glover tried to get with the singer
and
too.
she was like, no, back up, like we're not doing that. And then
Yeah.
but the singer then kind of like takes a liking to Whoopi and is like, girl, like you're gorgeous, because a lot of it too is Danny Glover like beating her down like emotionally
Yeah.
too, like
Yeah.
you're ugly, I don't know why I had to choose you, I wish your sister
Yeah.
never left, like
Yeah.
you're disgusting,
Yep.
but yet you still curl up in this bed next to me every night, so whatever. But anyway, she's like, you should love yourself, you should feel yourself, you should feel vibrant,
Yeah.
you're a beautiful girl. So that kind of also helps
Yeah.
bring Whoopi back into this whole like, I'm the ish, like I'm the fucking
Yeah.
shit, like you dirty
Yeah.
motherfucker, I
No.
run this shit, like
Yeah.
fuck you.
No,
So
it does also, it very much shows the fact that the whole place is Whoopi runs the show as far as
mm-hmm.
like the business side of it, the physical labor side of it, most of it. Like he'll do some things, but she's really doing everything. Yeah. It is it's a total like it's like I don't know. It shows how a matriarchy can be run, like someone runs a matriarchy, but has like a puppet as a, it's a whole thing. But
Like
yeah, so that's the color purple.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel like I can lie and say I've seen the color purple now.
you
You
definitely
could.
can.
That definitely
Most
was a great rundown of it.
appreciate it. One of the most awkward moments of my life. I'm going to tell you this right now. Your boy, old Uncle Matty here. My dad used to own a store down at the Social Security building. My dad was a blind veteran. So as if you're a disabled veteran, then the United States will hook you up with jobs in government buildings, right? So the Social Security building is a government building. And what he did there was he ran like, there was like a deli there where people get lunch and snacks and whatever, right? And he would run that, and it would be like, it was through the Veterans Association, right? So I used to work for him at this deli, and one time I was going to work, and like I'm in an elevator, and it's me and my brother Tom and these two black ladies, right? And we get in the elevator with them, and and then the one lady said, the one black lady, they're like talking to each other, and like we're standing behind them in the elevator, and like, they're just talking, being casual. And the one black lady goes, she's like, I'm going to see The Color Purple, and says it to the other black lady, like just like, kind of like ignoring us in a way. And I just said, I was like, oh, The Color Purple, I love Whoopi Goldberg, right? And just like dead silence, like dead silence in the elevator, and then like the dings, and I'm like, this isn't even our floor, but we're getting out of here. Like, this is brutal, So that's kind of like the most awkward, The Color Purple situation that ever was. But
you've wanted to talk about this movie for a long time, and you finally have the place and the space to do it.
Yeah. And I'm happy I did.
Wanted to tell an African American lady about them.
Like
I feel like I did
there.
it justice, if I'm not wrong.
I feel like I was there.
You definitely did.
Seen it.
Yeah,
you definitely
did. The picture. I did.
I get the plot points. I get the emotional struggle.
You got a couple of good lines too. Like you got it all.
Hoppo. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. So shout out. What were you talking about? The Color Purple.
Haley Bailey.
Never seen The Godfather.
Oh.
Yeah, we started with that, and we talked about the prodigies of Beyonce.
We went to, but wait. We've talked about Cheetos. We did the water park.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think? Okay, who do you like better, Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock?
Dave Chappelle. I don't think Chris Rock is funny at all.
Damn, don't be talking about my boy Chris Rock.
I'm sorry. I don't. His humor to me is a little.
Okay, who do you like better, Will Smith or Chris Rock?
He slapped the shit out of him.
Big Willie Stallone.
He actually slapped.
Plus, he's a Philly guy too. You always got to show love.
Too. Like I wasn't from West Philly, but Philadelphia born and raised. So
I would show love to the hometown guys, even if they're like a South Jersey guy that made it, like a Mike Trout or something. Like, I don't hate him. You know what I mean? But you gotta show love. But shout out.
Impartial.
Yeah, big Willie style all up in it. Love Will Smith. Fan of the show, listener to the show. Damn, how did we get on The Color Purple?
Because we were talking about the water park, and I said I was part mermaid, and then we were talking about Haley Bailey, who's the new mermaid, and how she's also in the remake of The Color Purple. And
there you go. That's my girl. See, I told you.
I'll be listening.
Love it. All right, who do you like better, Chevy Chase or Bill Murray?
Probably Chevy Chase.
Wow, Justin, are you hearing this?
Probably Chevy Chase.
What country are we on? Are we?
Who would have seen that coming?
Not me. Not old Uncle Matty. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I
think you're one of Justin. 2, maybe 3. You're in a select club. And you're a hero.
3. You're a chaser.
Yeah, he's funny.
Wow.
I don't know what you're. Yeah, he's not as funny as Bill Murray, but we'll keep it moving. Pancakes or waffles, Alex?
Pancakes. Waffles. Waffles. Definitely waffles.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a waffles.
Okay, but you're on the fence there.
I could go either way. Tough. Pancakes are easier to make sometimes, but waffles are kind of fun.
So you know how right? Like, do you ever drink like a liqueur and you drank too much of it, got sick, and then can't go near that ever again? Like I have some like Jägermeister, we're done. Evan Williams, aka like Jack, we're done. Car bombs, we're done. Tequila never really got started, but we're done. So I'm kind of just vodka, really. But like I'm saying, like all of that, I'm done with. I had that same incident with pancakes. But Justin, you want to say something?
As I said, the new tequila when we were a kid, Matthew, was disgusting. But tequila has gotten increasingly better as
I love
we've become
tequila.
adults. Yeah, it's gotten much better.
Can I say this?
All there was Jose Cuervo when we were kids, and Patron, which we couldn't afford with our grocery store jobs.
Right.
So yeah, that's all there was. And it was gross.
Right.
But now there's like the Casamigos.
Casamigos is not good. Casamigos, El Campo, Terramana.
That's the rocks, right?
Is Yeah, Terramana is the rocks.
Is it good?
I might be saying it crazy. It's one of my favorites, actually.
Shout out the rocks.
Trace Generitos. I don't know. It's like 3 gentlemen's in like Spanish or something like that.
Yeah.
Espolon is a good one too.
That one. Yeah.
Espolon is really good. I'm a Terramana Espolon, and I only drink Reposado. I don't like
the
I don't do good clear. I don't do very well with clear liquors.
You get the dark one?
Yeah. Reposado, and Yeho's the
on the
clear
other end
one,
of the
right?
spectrum. I get the Blanco.
The Blanco. I'm not good with clear liquors. It makes me really stupid, and bad things happen.
Right.
So
Sure,
it's just I just stay away from them.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, obviously.
Oh, there's another tequila that my uncle put me on, and it's called El Fumador, the smoker.
Ooh.
Amazing.
All right, can I say this as a white man, just generalizing? I've always felt that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I feel like black people like tequila.
Yes.
Right? Like that's kind of a thing. Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. I worked in bars long enough. It's a thing.
Older, like it's maturity. Like college kids don't like tequila, but
they don't like
the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm more of a tequila gal. It's
Do you
and
like
Hennessy,
a
I don't like
margarita,
Hennessy. I'm kind of slightly a man, so I like mine just straight,
right. Sure.
Straight
You
couple little.
clean,
I don't even like it
feel
on the
that
rocks. Just throw me a couple shots back, and I'll drink my water in between. But I don't do fruity. It's too much. If I'm drinking like a drink, probably a whiskey sour.
Yeah.
And margaritas are good, but I prefer my liquor straight.
Oh, can't say I blame you. What are you saying, Justin?
Yeah, tequila just like clean, like by itself. Like you don't get a bad hangover. Like it doesn't have sugar. Like you can drink a ton of them. I feel like I'll just get tequila and water sometimes, and I feel good the next morning.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Good's a strong word, but I can function. I can function.
I get pretty hammered for not as much. Like I would take 17 beers to do the same thing that like 6 shots of tequila does.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Probably the most important question, and I know we've talked about this. I know we have. When it comes to wings, are you drums or are you flats?
I've told you I have done my own personal experiment, and I have an hypothesis on this. Women like flats. I'm a flat girl. I don't mind drums, but if you are someone asking to eat my chicken, hey, can I have a piece of chicken? I'm giving you a drum. Do not ever expect to receive a flat from me, because flats are mine. Don't touch them. And I think that's more of a woman thing. Sure. I know a couple of women, those outliers on, on your graph.
Right.
It's a woman thing that they like flats, and most men like drums. That's just how I feel on that one.
Well, I'm right, but I don't feel good about it. So. real hard to get behind you there, but yeah, you're right.
Are you a flatter?
Yeah,
are you a flatter?
Way better, lady.
Indeed. Again, those outliers. There's a few outliers, and I respect the outliers.
I'm a lady. It's okay.
No, it's fine. There's so much outliers are needed, because if there are no outliers, it's not a real experiment.
They're better.
So you count. Again, there's that special group we're in, right? Didn't you say I was in a special club? That's the club we're in.
Really. Yeah, you drink straight tequila.
Straight. It's a club thing. I'm just saying.
Right.
We should get t-shirts.
Straight tequila and flats.
Yes. Tequila and flats.
Straight tequila and flats.
We do have a merch line coming up soon. I do have to get with our merch team.
You should hashtag that. That should be a hashtag. Straight tequila and flats.
We did. I mean,
I would order that.
I'll tell you that shirt did not do well last year.
Straight tequila and flats and flats.
No, so
drums outsell flats.
Drums did outsell flats. I'll tell you that right now. But last year we went too gimmicky with our merch. We have to more say branded merch is what people want. Like when I people like, it sucks because like if you're a returning purchase, like a returning consumer, then it's like, oh, cool, let me see what else you got. But if you're like a first timer, which there was a lot last year, and we didn't have enough branded merch, and it kind of turned people away, and we lost a lot of sales because of it. So this year I'm thinking this is my strategy in the upcoming year in the upcoming merch store. I want to focus on colorways, because I have designed, like, everyone has their own specific colorway logo. Like Jamie has like a purple one. Justin, what is yours, Justin?
I don't know.
Right. You have a white one. And then Liam has like a Flyers colors one, and Byrne had like a Villanova colors one. But I really want to get a gray with Kelly green, and then a green with gray, a Kelly green with gray. I really want to do that. I really want to maybe do a Phillies one with like Phillies gray with red, and then red with gray. You know what I mean? Like, I do want to get. I really think if we did like the Philadelphia sports colors in there, that would be big sellers. You know.
It's fun. I like all the different, like the Jamie's is the best. Jamie's is like the Miami colors.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, Jamie's is gangster. Jamie's like the Marlins almost.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So Alexandra Brown, aka Jones, aka Brown, you know, you're married, whatever. I want to talk about you, want to get to know you because you're the best. So you were born and raised in the fighting city of Philadelphia. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in East Mount Airy, which is like
shout out
between Germantown and like Chestnut Hill. So like,
oh yeah,
I'm like not really hood, but then also have like a little bit of prep in me. So I'm like a best of both worlds kind of thing.
Right.
I literally live in the same house that I grew up in. So I've been here for like, well, almost 30 years now. So
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't have any, you know, no quarrels, but again, I see the best of both worlds. Like I hear the shots and the sirens, but then I also see the dogs and the poodles. So that's always exciting.
Oh, how's parking where you're at?
So, okay, parking is like a real big thing with me because again, I've lived on the same block like literally all my life. And my house is, so it's obviously row homes, right? And I am like not at the top of the block, but like my block kind of like starts and then there's a cut block and then my actual block starts. And I am the second house next to an alleyway as well. So it's like the actual parking on the block isn't bad, but there's something about in front of my house that everyone wants to park there. So it's a pain in the ass when like I'm coming home and I'm like, great, I'm gonna park in front of my house. Oh no. Here's Billy Bob parked in front of my car, parked in front of my fucking house. And it's like, okay, great. So now, like, before it didn't bother me as much, but like now that I like have a kid and all, like I'm not walking up the block with a carrier, a bag, another bag, and another bag. Like, it's quite honestly a pain in the ass. But I mean, especially too, because across the street from my house, there's like the back of homes, so you're not parking in front of anyone's house. Park over the fuck there. Why do you have to park in front of my house? Like it's a pain. So parking it grinds my gears.
Oh, big time. When I was living in the Northeast with my wife's family, we had like the same issue and it sucked. Like there'd be one of the big things we would do. I don't know if you and your husband do this, where like I would just drop her off and like just grab my daughter, go in the house, and then I'll find parking and grab the bag and the carrier and the million other things you have to take with you whenever you go somewhere as a kid. And just like walk it in, and then when we leave, I go get the car and pull it. You know what I mean? Back. Like that's just it's just part of men's thing that it's a thankless thing that you do and no one remembers, and then you get shit on for doing other stuff, like whatever, just part of being a guy.
Well, luckily now I drive a Suburban and my husband drives like a Ford F-250 diesel. So like we've got the biggest bitches on the block. So when we park, like we purposely, you're on the curb. No, we park too pristine. Like we're prestigiously kissing the curb very nicely, and we leave enough space for me and him to park. But I'm happy to take up 4 parking spots. Like, fuck all of you. I don't give a fuck where you park because it won't be in front of my fucking house. So that's it, and that's all. So we're like, we literally have the biggest cars on the block, and then my husband also has an additional trailer. So like,
damn.
When we park, we park.
What's he do for work?
Go chairs.
He's a mechanic, but he also has his own he's a mechanic who works in a dealership, but he also has his own business as well, like, and that's in multiple ways. Like he has his own garage, he also has like slight tow business type. The man just works. Okay. He just works. That's all I can say, because he just works consistently and I love him for it. So
he's just a hustler, man.
It pretty much.
But I think too, I love to see that. Like I feel like I have that same gene where he's like a born provider. Like he has a wife and a family, and he'll do whatever it takes to provide. And that's a beautiful, like, I think that's the best thing. Like that's the, probably the best calling there is in a way. Where
It
like,
is.
I feel like as men, that's like a thing you're born to do is provide.
Yeah, and he's definitely a great provider. So shout
Yeah.
out to him. Love
Yeah,
you.
shout out. No, you need like that. He should be very proud of that
Oh, I
because
am.
well, you both should be, but he should be as well as like, because that's like I don't know. I don't know if everyone's different, but I know for me, Justin, maybe not for you because you didn't have it, Dad, but coming up, you were told like, look, one day you're going to be your job is you're going to have to protect, you're going to have to provide, like do all this stuff. Like you need to mentally get ready for it and know like this is your responsibility, you
Yeah.
know? So, glad to see him stepping up. That's great. I mean, why wouldn't you though? I mean, look at
Yeah.
you. You're the
Oh,
best.
stop it.
So, okay, let's talk about school. You did some private school stuff, independent Quaker school, and then you also did some sports. So, talk to me about your school, talk to me about your sports, and tell me what life was like.
So I like 1 through K through 5 was like we'll see like private Christian schools kind of like all over the place. I spent a lot of time at this one school called Timothy Academy. I don't know if they're still in business, but that was like from 2 to 5th grade.
To the
And
charter
then
school?
it was just not independent. It was just a private Christian school. So
Okay.
they were like at Second and Lehigh,
Okay.
and it was the hood, but whatever.
Shout out.
I would say the majority of my school year has been at Independent Quaker School, which was Germantown Friends, on Germantown and Coulter. Shout out to you, GFS, go Tigers.
Shout out.
That was like crazy because like in a class of 83 people, there were 7 Blacks. And hi, I was one of those 7. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So it's like it was a big change in regards to like culture and just seeing what life is like kind of on the other side. Because keep in mind, like this is an independent Quaker school. Like my senior tuition was like 22 grand. Like,
Damn.
so, yeah, so it wasn't cheap. Like I was with the elite of the elite. Like these kids go to Harvard and MIT
Damn.
and things like that. So,
and it's right there in the middle of like, for people who aren't familiar, it's right there in the middle of Germantown. Like it's a half really historical, nice houses, like great brickwork and great bridges,
Cobblestone
and half
streets.
really, rough.
Yep. So Germantown and Coulter, but this is
Haynes
like
Street is like only a few blocks away.
Germantown and Shelton is like literally down the block. And I hate to say this, but in high school, like me and my one friend would leave and go to Germantown and Shelton. And one time I left, and like, this is when Germantown High was still in session, because now Germantown High is like shut down, and I think they're turning it into like an apartment complex or whatever. But I literally have left school, like I've left my independent Quaker school, like, oh my gosh, here we go. Walk down to Germantown and Shelton and watch a Germantown High fight where this guy threw another guy through the window of Dunkin' Donuts. So it's like, again, it was really like
Fun
literally
stuff.
the best of both worlds, because like it was so, but I mean, it well-rounded me, made me well-rounded. I don't know how to say that, but I've got a lot of open-mindedness because I've seen so much from both sides of the world. Like I've seen the side with money, I've seen the side without money, I've seen the side who's trying to get to the money. So it was really an experience to deal with.
All right, Alex, can I ask you 2 things real quick? One, okay, so you're at a predominantly white school, right? And then you would come home to your neighborhood and have your neighborhood crew and all that stuff. When you're at the predominantly white school, is your behavior and your language usage slightly different than when you're back home with the crew?
Slightly. I would say very slight, because like this is it. Like, so you see me now, this is kind of who it is. This is what it is.
I know who it is.
So I would say slight in the sense of like, I might have to explain a certain word, so I won't use it. Whereas like at home, I'll just use it. So it wasn't too much. And like,
you don't think your tone or inflections in your words would change?
No, because at this point, by the time I got to GFS, I was already in the 6th grade. So there wasn't much change that really needed to happen. Yeah. So it was like, this is kind of who it is. Like, you're just going to have to deal with it. And another thing too is like, I didn't really necessarily have a neighborhood crew. My parents weren't, I was allowed outside. Don't get me wrong. Like I
Right.
wasn't like cooped up or anything, but like I had
They
a
didn't want you
set
getting in no
group.
mess. Yeah.
Exactly. So I had a set group that kind of already
It's good
was in the
parenting.
same mindset. Like we all
Yeah.
were in the same mindset anyway. So it was
Yeah.
like not really much that needed to change.
Yeah.
But there
That's
were times where it was like, oh girl, you're getting a little too ratchet. You might have to tone that down some. So
But
so
like
I
that's two things. That is great parenting.
mhm,
And then also like it is very important in your friends group. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like Justin and I can attest. I feel like me and Justin met like we've had, we grew up in different neighborhoods, but we did meet through mutual friends. And like that's one of those things where it's like you knew like the different guys you hung out with. I would hang out with guys knowing like this can't last. Like these
Hmm.
guys I'm looking at bad shit with these dudes. And I know Justin did too, because there was a bunch of guys where he grew up that they were fucking you
Yeah, a
don't
lot
want
of
to be
them are
hanging
gay.
out with them a lot. You know what I mean? But no, like I had a few too where I'm like, God, I can't be around this guy much longer. This is
Yeah.
just bad news, you know? And so like I think your parents realized that and was like keeping you on the straight and narrow, which is great. But the reason I asked the thing about the language is because I've seen it and I've seen it in the office too.
Hmm.
With I'll say, for example, I'll use one person and I'll cut his name, but someone like a right?
Hmm.
Like I'll see a come in, shirt tucked in, like button down, like looking, looking prepped up, right? And he'll talk a certain way when Alex is there, like or when a higher up's around, he'll talk a certain way. But then when we're chilling at the table, he's throwing shit around. I'm like, this motherfucker, like, I mean, like he can throw, like he gets with it when he's around the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and he's just an example, but there's a million people that do the same thing. Like,
It's called code switching. It's
oh
been a big thing, kind of like in I would say essentially in the Black community lately.
yeah, yeah.
Like the whole you talk like an Oreo. That like I've been called or told that I've talked like an Oreo. But
Oh,
I mean, just because I'm not running around slurring my words
right,
and
right,
you know what I'm saying, like just because I'm not talking hood, like I
right,
mean,
right,
we can go there if you want to go there. You see what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So,
I know. Hey,
so we can get there, but
yeah,
overall, it's you also have to know your audience. Like
right,
again, with that being said, if I'm talking to a higher up, I'm not giving you I'm not giving you the, you know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying.
right.
But if I'm talking to my group, you get what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get. I'm
yeah,
also not
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do it like that either.
Right, right.
So it really depends on who your audience is
Yeah,
and friends, at least my friend wise, like friend group wise, like I can be whatever I want to be. And if it just
yeah.
happens to be right smack dab in the middle, bang. But depending on who I'm talking to, like I can get a little bit of an octave higher if that's the case.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
we could also take
yeah,
it down south if that's what you're trying to get into.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
it depends.
I,
We all
I
have a
equate.
customer service voice.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Right. Well, I equate it to this. It's almost like, say, if you were talking to like an like a British person, you like without even knowing it would adopt their accent sometimes, just because like
Hmm.
that's what it is. So it's
I
like you're really adopting kind of the accent and the vernacular of the person you're with. I do it all the time when I'm hanging out with C Short. Oh, what do you say? Backdoor little Joe.
dude, I
With backdoor little Joe.
I'm not playing with
I ha-
him.
I have to go to Reading and I deal with a lot of Spanish people and
Hmm.
Dude.
I'll start doing that English in a Spanish like
Yeah.
slang like without I
All the
Even
don't
time.
do it
realizing it.
without thinking,
Yeah.
but I'll be like Hira Sino,
Hmm.
and I'll be like, oh,
I talk to like I
I do
always
with
try to throw
Indian
around
people
like
sometimes.
yeah.
The
Indian
worst.
people too, you said?
They'll start having the accent and they'll be like, whoa, and I'll be like, Ippa, and I'm like, I don't talk
Hmm.
like that. I don't know how I'm doing that. That's not how I sound.
Dude, now that you mention that, I do that a lot with like my Albanian in-laws and stuff.
You
I'll
start
talk like
trying to
that.
like mimic them to make it feel better for them,
Yeah.
and then all of a
It
sudden you're like,
happens a
I
lot
don't talk
too.
like that.
It happens a lot too. Like if like going down south, like I have a couple of family members who are from the south, and
Uh,
like you start to just kind of get that southern twang, and I'm like,
yeah, oh
I
yeah.
don't, or if I'm even watching a show, like it if I watch, and I hate to say this, but if I watch like Love and Hip Hop and
Yeah.
it got that like real southern twang, like now all of a sudden I've turned it off and now I'm just talking kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
my husband's like, girl, go drink some water, eat a
Yeah.
Snickers. You're not yourself right now.
Yeah. I get that way when I watch too much Wild 'N Out. I love that show.
Yes.
So let's keep it moving. So you did the prep school while living in Germantown, and here's something I found interesting. a little field hockey, huh?
GFS. GFS was big on sports and like having some sort of like sports. So once sixth grade and on, you have to play a sport every season. Summer, fall, winter, summer, spring. So field hockey was my fall sport. Pretty cool, pretty good. I mean, it was what it was. I played it for the entirety of middle school, so sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. And then I was done with it. I didn't like it. I dabbled in lacrosse. That was fun, but I would say like my biggest sport that I've really like drawn into was track and field. And I did sprints. I was a sprinter, so I did like the 4, the 1, the 1, the 2, the 4x1, the 4x2, and then I long jump and triple jumped. So like that was where my heart kind of like took
you do
off.
have those long legs. You were probably like a gazelle, right?
I loved it. Triple jump was like my ultimate favorite event of the world, and I actually ruptured my quad doing triple jump my senior year, which is why I didn't do it in college, and I kind of regret it to this day. But yeah, no, I was a beast.
How did rupturing your quad feel?
Oh, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. Like my quad was like in a fist, like this tight, and like it was probably one of the worst things I'd ever dealt with in my entire life. But
God,
it was
brutal.
I mean, I did also have a child naturally,
right, sure.
You know, back then.
Oh
yeah,
Charlie horses are pretty bad.
Right, yeah. Charlie horse is a bastard.
Yeah, rupturing
natural birth is one thing, but a Charlie horse is a son.
Yeah.
It's like, how would you like to have a Charlie horse for 45 minutes until we sedate you for surgery?
Oh boy.
Just put me out of my misery already.
How about it? Damn. Also, it says here a little Pennsylvania girls choir.
Oh, what a time that was. So from the time I was in the second grade to graduating college, my mom saw this little ad in the newspaper. Do you have a daughter who likes to sing? Oh, try her out, bring her out to tryouts. So she took me to tryouts, and it was at the Presbyterian Church in Chestnut Hill, which is right next to Chestnut Hill Hospital.
Okay.
And it absolutely changed my life. I love to sing. I do have a very good voice, not to toot my own horn, but
right.
I do have a pretty decent voice. And that is a place where I learned how to read music, how to understand music, how to really engulf myself in music. It's taking me across the world. I went on tour with them to Russia and also Argentina and Uruguay.
Damn.
This group, and I think they're still in business today, but I was originally a founding member. Like I have a little blue Pennsylvania pin, and we have a brother choir, the Keystone State Boys Choir. So people seem to know
Are they kind of like the Philadelphia Boys Choir, like on that level? Because
yes,
they were
but
traveling
better.
They went to Cuba.
Yeah, they're same thing, but a little bit better.
Damn.
That's just me. I'm kind of impartial, but whatever. Sure. So the Keystone State Boys Choir and then the Pennsylvania Girls Choir, like we were brother and sister, and we've done things like I literally sang at the Kimmel Center for like 10 years straight. I've sang Carmina Burana with like opera singers. I've sang with the Philadelphia Orchestra, like absolutely incredibly life-changing. One of the best experiences I've ever dealt with in my entire life. And again, kind of another predominantly white situation. And like if you were to go and look at some of the footage from I found footage from years ago, obviously like this is before YouTube was as big of a thing as it is, but there is some footage out there like, oh, you see that little black dot, that little speck there? Yeah, that was me. That was me. So it was 100% life-changing. Like I shout out to Mark Anderson, who was one of the greatest choir directors I've ever had. Shout out to Jody Bohr. She was an amazing pianist who always made sure we were together. And like it's sometimes I wish I could go back.
How was Russia?
Russia was crazy. They used to pay me 50 rubles, which was like an equivalent to $15 to just take my picture. Like, dude, I've never really seen a black girl before. And oh my gosh, can we take your picture?
Yeah. My
that's a steal, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I made a lot of money.
My sister lived in Nepal for a year. And when she was in Nepal, she went to India like for a vacation or something when she was there. And in India, she was on the beach, and my sister is white with red hair, like carrot red hair. You know what I mean? And people would just come up and be like, "Holy shit!" Like, let's take a, like, so tons of people are taking pictures with her and like all this stuff, and it was nuts. But yeah, super. Damn, I could totally see that. Wow, shout out Russia.
It was absolutely awesome. And
That sounds like such an incredible experience.
oh yeah, and it's funny because I technically wasn't supposed to go. This was like the summer between 8th and 9th grade, and I technically was too young to go, and I wasn't in the oldest choir that went on tour. But
Right.
again, shout out to Mark Anderson because he saw something in me that I never saw in myself, and he selected like 10 people from the choir right under, and I was one of the 10. And it was like, we need the help. We don't have enough girls going. Asked my parents, of course, like, would you be okay? Like, and of course my mom's
no?
like, hell yeah, like why would exactly, how could I say no to such a life-changing experience? So shout out to mom and dad because they did that too. And that was the very first time I had ever been on a plane. It was a 14-hour flight to Russia and a 17-hour flight back. First time I'd ever been on a plane.
Damn.
Yeah,
if you're gonna do it, I mean, damn,
go big or go home, right?
Yeah, how about it? Golly.
Life-changing to say the least.
What year was that too?
I started 9th grade September of 2009. So
damn, so they didn't have a lot of technology on them planes either.
I watched Avatar on the way back. I watched Avatar 3 times.
Damn. Golly.
That's a long flight.
That's 3 times too many. Damn. Dude, that's it. But that's awesome though. Like that's something like so like to go, like, I mean, we not, like, as a country, we might not be allowed to Russia again until we invade it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I can't go to Russia.
Nice. Let's keep it moving then. So let's talk some job. Let's do a little job talk. You want to talk jobs? Let's do job talk.
Let's do it.
Job talk. All right. So let's keep it going. So you started so it looks like you started with like a normal like camp counselor kind of thing, and then some daycare stuff, and then you worked at like a wholesale club, i.e. Costco's, BJ's, something along those lines. I don't want to say the exact one. And then you did retail stuff like that. So let's talk about it. So camp counselor, and then daycares. What was that like? Because you're dealing with kids and stuff like that.
Interesting. I enjoyed it. I love kids. I have a natural way with children. But it was cool. I think because the very first time I was a camp counselor, it was like the same camp I went to, and then I just was too old to like be enrolled. So it was like junior camp counselor type of thing. And it was like it was cool. I prefer the daycares a little bit more because they have a different structure and it's an all-day thing. But I like kids. I love kids to death, but it's always exciting because you can give them back. Like, you can do this all day long, and now go home to your mom, please.
I would say too, like, I know my daughter, there's been some teachers at the daycares, and even like, daughters of teachers and stuff that like have developed such a relationship with my daughter. Like, she adores them, right? So I'm sure you had that as well, where there was like some kids that you just absolutely fell in love with.
And it definitely is that. And like, even with like some of the older kids, like who, like say like 4 to 5, like between 4 and 6 or something. And you can tell they need like someone else outside of their home to just kind of connect with. That's always like the biggest thing with me is like, how can I help this child today? What can I do to kind of make this child's life just a tiny bit better? Because it sucks to assume that kids just go home to a happy place all the time. And sometimes their solace is where they go. So I just want to be that place of peace and possible comfort for them if they need it.
That's fantastic.
So yeah.
No, that's great. That's incredible. And like, kids need that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realize how much of a difference you make, even if the kid, is a little younger and might not remember it exactly, but like that really, like, it's crazy how much the little stuff at this age, because they're not really going to remember it because it comes before like their memories get triggered. But even at this age, like this little things like this really shape and form them. So like that kind of comfort you provided and things like that is like, it's unbelievably like helpful for those kids in their development.
Exactly.
So nice. Let's keep moving on. So you worked at a couple, we'll say the wholesaler and a retail place, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a supermarket retail place. So what was that like working at like a wholesale club? And then, because I've been to them
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like they hire anybody. AK, I've always
It's
said
true.
this. I've always said this. If there is alien, if there is alien life on this planet, they work at Applebee's and
Mm-hmm.
also Costco. So you're working at, a wholesale place. How was it?
Interesting. Like you said, like they will hire just, I wouldn't say just about anybody, but they have a department for everyone. And it
Yeah.
sucks because I'm almost positive that I might have worked with a serial killer. But
Sure.
I mean, you would never know. It's just the kind of people
Happens.
they hire. So exactly, like you could walk past one on the street and not know. So it's
Somebody has to
definitely
stock the shelves at night, you know?
it's
Right, right, right.
or cut the meat during the day, whatever. But it's
He
definitely a
just
wealth
liked
of
it too
people.
much.
It's a wealth of people that you just, you kind of get to know, and then you to see people come and go is really kind of exciting because it's like, oh, they worked here for how long and now they're gone, or you've been here forever and you're not going to leave. It's one of those kind of situations. So it's really interesting to see what who you come across, because
Yeah.
it's like it literally could be like Men in Black style. Like Will
Yeah.
Smith could walk in and start beatboxing, and old boy is definitely going to answer with a returning beatbox all
Yeah.
day.
I had a buddy that I went to school with that he kind of messed up a bunch of times, did a little small time stuff here and there, and had some drugs things and everything like that. Great dude. Absolutely love this guy. But he just messed up sometimes. And he did his time and whatever and paid his debt to society. He got out and started working at Costco and like totally bought into it. And it really did, like, in those scenarios, it can be extremely helpful when it gives someone like something to latch onto and help develop. And like, it, from what I've told, if you do commit to them, they do tend to take care of their employees, sometimes,
Hmm. Sometimes.
depending. But he really changed his life around and really was able to clean his act up. And Costco had a lot to do with it. He was working at a Costco,
Yeah.
and it had a lot to do with it. And so it does, like, it, as much as it's a haven for pedophiles on the run, it's also like, it can be very beneficial for someone who's trying to get their life together just because of the opportunities it presents, and you can't knock it. Also,
Yeah.
I'm a Costco member, so shout out to me.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving then. Okay, so let's talk turkey. So you were working in retail, worked at the wholesale gimmick, did the counselor gimmick, did the kids gimmick at the daycare. Now we're in an office. Am I
Yep.
right? How was that? First, I'll tell you this. Did you ever have the thought of like, how can I, like, I wish I could work in an office. How do I get in an office? It seems like impossible to get a job in an office. Like, because I had that thought. Then I got to an office and I was like, they'll hire in anybody. Like, because there are some dipshits in this place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a college education, and don't tell too many people this, but I got expelled from 2 high schools. So it's like, your boiled Uncle Matt, you don't got the best resume. But I'm saying, like, I feel like if you work, like, one of the things that's lacking in an office is like people that work hard.
Yeah.
Like, there are some, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people that, like, the way they work hard is they need to be given a list. They need to be
Hmm.
given exact instructions, and they will do the same thing on that list. And if a little blip comes up, they lose their goddamn minds, right? But they need like specific instructions on doing this, and this is the list, and you follow this, and blah 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 blah, blah, and they'll do the same thing over and over and over again, and over and over and over again, right? Where problem solving is like such a valuable skill, and I've recognized that you have problem solving skills, right? And that's something like you don't see because it's people kind of get almost like brainwashed into like, this is how things work. So what was your kind of first impression when getting into an office?
First impression was like, oh my gosh, I can make a living here. Like, this is so cool. Like, this
Yeah.
is stability. This is something that,
Yeah.
eventually you can climb the ranks and climb the ladders. But
Yeah.
then the politics kind of fall in. And it's like, high school times 3. So it was really interesting to see how like it changes from this can be an all day thing, this could be an everyday thing to like, dear God, what did I get myself into? And do I really like, can I afford to get out of it? And it's like, it's almost like hush money / blood money. Like,
Yeah.
I can't leave now. Like the money's too good, but at the same time, like I will actually rip my hair out.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
so it's the same thing, like you said, like again, hiring anybody and the critical thinking skills are just not like it should be a question on the interview or something.
Yeah.
Like, can you critically think? Could you work your way out of a box if you were stuck
Yeah.
in it? And
Yeah.
a lot of people would, of course, lie and say, yeah, I can. We'll demonstrate. And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're not cut out for this. But
I would love to give them
it's
like a simple task of like, all right, how do we
like
fix
open your
this thing?
email. That would be such a great task. Can you turn on the computer? You'd be surprised what I see.
Oh boy.
So it's like,
I can't even imagine what you see. Doof.
gosh, it's insane. And it's like, who did this interview? Did y'all just say yes to any old body?
Yeah.
But whatever. It's exciting though, because it's like, again, you get to see so many different walks of life. And as you can tell, like I'm a big walk of life kind of person. Like I
Yeah.
like to see
You're a people
what is
person.
around me. Exactly. I like to see what's around me, who's around me, where'd you grow up, what do you know, how did you learn, whatever. So it's interesting to see what comes in and out of an office. Is interesting to see what stays in an office and what doesn't fly. It's
True.
interesting to see like you didn't know you couldn't do that here. Like do you have any home training type of situation?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a certain type of maturity that you need to have in an office. And I think it's really interesting to see people who do have it, and especially the people who don't. And it's like, okay, we're cutting this today.
Yeah.
you gotta go.
But
So
I feel like it's so what did you call it before? Code breaking, right?
code switching.
Code switching. So I feel like that's kind of like to have a level of professionalism, that's something that you need, right? Like
Yeah.
when we're in there, right? If it's you, like if it's us in the lunch crew, like remember the other week they had to like come in and tell us to be quiet because
Yeah.
we were like bullshitting about Ice Spice and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, but we were just like having fun and everyone's joking and we're all talking like normal. But if someone's in there, like, well, yeah, we'll play up like the friendly stuff, but there's times where it's like we're all keeping it clean and like cutting it nice and stuff like that. And that's just part of the game. But then also when it comes to like the political side of things, really like I mean, there's been time like you like reading a book, like sometimes you have to read the book by the cover, and if you make a mistake, it is
It's
bad.
your ass. It's your ass,
It is
basically.
so bad. Like I remember, dude, I mean, I don't know. I felt like there was a couple of scenarios where I read the book really, I mean, like the book in the cover was really bad. But then like, you know, also too, like depending on the office you grow in, there's places that are like dead ends. I mean, shout out our place where it's like there is potential for growth and different opportunities and things like that. I will say that. But you know, there you got to be. I mean, if you find someone that you dig, saddle up to that pony and ride. Like, do not like, you know, like I don't know. I feel like once you get into a situation where you have a someone in a managerial role that really cares about your well-being, it completely changes like your whole work outlook on everything. You know,
it definitely does. And like you said, like you have to know your audience again. Like you cannot just walk up to anyone and make a that's what she said joke. Like someone will run straight to HR and it's a thing. And it's like if you just like you said, find your people, find your niche. Like you have to find your people, but it's not hard. You know what you know. And the book by cover thing, like it's a lot of the time it's very obvious, and it's almost like, why would you say that to that person? Like,
right.
what are you actually doing right now? So
right.
It's interesting, but it's also exciting because when you find those people and you do send the IM like, haha, that's what she said, and you know your friend on the other side is like cracking up. It's like, yeah, yep, damn right, huh? So it's like it makes the time and it makes it worth it. Because again, like you see the one where you're like, you have to read that one by the book, like by its cover, and you know, again, like you said, where we are, like we have like the, you know, the in corporate office thing. So you see everyone. Like I love during the week when you get to see everyone, and it's like certain people where I'm like, her, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do with her. But then there's other ones where you be like, hey girl, how you been? How you been? So it's just interesting again to see the different lives kind of collide to each other and like possible tension or the possible laughter. It's just exciting.
Plus, too, like you're in a position now, and I love to see your growth because it's well deserved. Because I do remember when you were first starting and the position you were in, and like we would talk about you like endlessly, like, no, she's the best. Like, yeah, like we love her. This person's great. You know what I mean? Whereas like that's not always said, but I like seeing that you've been so successful and like done so many great things and been able to grow. And I'm really proud of you, and you should be
Oh,
really proud
thanks.
of yourself for that because you've done a great job.
Oh, thank you. It was definitely earned. It was definitely like hard coming, but
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's exciting. Like you said, the growth is there. You just have to want it bad enough.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing. Like eventually, like you can't give into the politics or give into the letdowns or anything like that. You have to want it. And if you want it bad enough, you'll get it. And baby, I wanted it. So here we are today.
And it can beat you down too. Where it's like
definitely
if you're in a situation, it can be man, it can beat you down.
It can get rough. It can get real dark.
Yeah. So, okay. I do want to do this now. We're coming to everyone's favorite segment. It's now time for JDubs Questions segment. Alex, Justin here is going to ask you some questions and you can give us some answers and it's, it can be a thing. So go ahead, Justin. Take it away.
Have you had any broken bones?
I broke my collarbone and I broke my nose. I broke my collarbone fighting my sister one time and then I broke my nose.
How old were you when you broke collarbone?
Was like 4-ish, I think.
All right, if you're gonna do it early.
Yeah. And then I broke my nose playing basketball. The girl was doing a defensive slide and she like elbowed me. Might have been on purpose, might not have been, but whatever. I mean, it's set back normal, so it is what it is.
Have you been in the back of a cop car?
No, I have not been in the back of one. Have I been fingerprinted? Yes.
How do you get to the police station?
I had to come in and get fingerprinted, but
willingly? Nah,
I didn't have a choice. It ended up being a whole thing in the house. So
when you got parents, they make you do that shit.
Exactly, but
Justin, you don't know. You didn't have a dad. All right, you don't get it.
Yeah, they had to come to the house. They're getting me.
Yeah. And you're like, "Are you my dad?" And you're like, "Nope, I'm just here to arrest you." Yeah.
Dude, I put up such a shit when they tried to take my fingerprints.
Oh my god.
Because all right. How long do you think like let's say hypothetically you broke out of a prison, how long do you think you could stay on the run for?
I at this point I think I am a Cavalcante guy. Like I'm ducking and I'm dodging. He's been out for
survivor skills.
He's he's been out for like what 14 days now.
This dude's legit dead in a ditch.
I don't maybe not that much of a survivor. I'd probably get caught in an incident. I'm not even gonna lie.
That's the thing. You got to find water, which is and his sister helped him out. So you gotta have, that's the thing. You have to have somebody obscure enough that would help you out. Like somebody who, like, if they searched your Facebook and your Instagram, it has to be somebody
they would never see you. Yeah,
right. They'd be like, "Will you help me?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, like shave. Here's a hoodie." I
probably wouldn't even want to break out because that's a lot of anxiety.
No, if you're him, you want to break out. You're gonna be there forever.
Yeah. True.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Right. It's hard for in this perspective. It's
wasn't he in a county though?
You can't root for this guy.
But they had a lifer in a county.
He had just got sentenced and everything.
Okay, I see. All right. Who did he murder?
His girlfriend. He stabbed her 38 times in front of her 2 kids.
Yeah. So it's like if he did something like not crazy,
and he killed a woman too.
Damn. And then he also has cases in Brazil. So
killed another woman in Brazil and ran from that.
He's a runner. He's a track star. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
Dude, who the hell is this guy?
Look it up. It's interesting.
How the hell do you even get here?
5 foot 120. That's the other thing going.
5 foot 120 pounds.
He's literally under a rock. So.
Oh my God.
There's that.
That's when I heard that. I heard that on the radio. He's like, he's 5 foot 120. He's like, he's 5 foot.
He's a child. He's literally a child.
Yeah, she's probably laughing at his pinky-sized schmeckle. And he's like, I'm gonna have to stab you 37 times now. You mean
no more luck doors.
Yeah. Damn. Harpo. Yeah, no. She really yeah. I mean, if it was Oprah, she would whoop that boy's ass. Let's just say, you know what I mean?
Definitely would.
Yeah. So, all right, keep it going, Justin.
Do you have a dream car?
I did. My dream car was an all black tinted out Suburban. And I have a Suburban now. It's just not all black, but it's definitely tinted out. Shout out to the hubby because it was a birthday gift.
Love
it. I did have one, and that was it. And it was also a 1999 Cadillac Coupe de Ville.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love it. You know what's a dream car I have that isn't like a super high end Viper, Maserati, Ferrari kind of thing? I would love a nice Jeep Grand Cherokee. Is that so bad? I really like a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
One?
That's not bad.
I like a good Jeep Grand Cherokee. I think it's a great car. I really like those cars.
Honda Odyssey, great car.
I have a Honda Accord. Shout out, fan of the show, listener of the show.
Shout out to Pilot.
Did you know that Hondas actually have a higher insurance rate because they get stolen for parts? Just so you know.
Yeah, well, it also depends where you live, because when I was living in the Northeast, my insurance was. Then I moved to the burbs and I went, and I'm like, hey, shout out the suburbs. But it's also I think the Accord and the Civic are the number 1 and 2 most broken into Honda vehicles because of the airbag and the steering wheel.
Yep.
That's why I got the Club, baby.
Old school.
Hey, dude, the Club. I mean, I don't know what it'll do, but if it's a deterrent, then lock it up.
Lock my car doors.
Yeah, well, you're a hoe.
I never have.
You never have.
I used to live in Philly forever. You leave your car doors unlocked. You're like, dude, don't smash my window. What part
of Philly do you live in?
I lived in North Philly, right off Paris Street, and I was like, look,
just take it. Just take it.
There's nothing in here more expensive than the windows. So like, I always left my car doors unlocked. I'm like, you can have my CD collection and the 47 cents. Just don't break my window, yo.
Yeah. Also, too, like, I mean, if you're leaving valuable shit in your car, you're the dumbass.
You're
like no back for
it. Yeah. I don't even like wires showing. You know what I mean? I'm like,
I take cables with me.
Yeah. Like I'll tuck them into whatever, Little they know, really, if you want the drugs, you just go in the trunk. You know what I mean?
What? I take those in the house. I don't leave those outside.
Hey, don't leave
just
in the
kidding.
Car.
In my trunk right now, I'll tell you exactly what I have. I have 4 folding chairs and a folding table that we use for when we do in-person recordings. I have a tablecloth. I have a ton of like boxing gear, like so much boxing gear, and like just different. Like I have a bag with a paintball gun in it. I can't tell you last time I used that gun. And then I have like just other dumb stuff. And then also I have 2 children's toys that are presents for my nephews. So
interesting.
That's old Uncle Matty's life right there. Go ahead, Justin.
Would you give up Italian food or Mexican food?
Damn.
You have to pick up one of the either.
I would probably give up Italian food.
What about?
Sorry, Maddie. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. What about Mexican food or soul food?
Mexican. I'm soul food down. Sorry. I make a mean pot of greens. Okay, and my turkey wings. Yeah, no, it's definitely. It's definitely going to be soul food all day.
Like the collard greens thing, I didn't know that was such a gimmick. I used to work at this place called Vinny T's, and for when we had a Christmas party, everyone there was a bunch of cooks there, and they would all make like a signature dish that was like the best thing they made. And we had like ribs and like someone do mac and cheese, and someone would do like hot wings, but like homemade with like their homemade sauce and shit. And this one dude would do collard greens, and they were so fucking good with like the pig's feet in it and shit. Oh,
I do turkey necks, smoked turkey necks.
Whatever. It was so fucking good. I was like, this is absolutely incredible. And it was the first time I ever had it. And I was like, I would love to have this again. I mean, this is way better than a tuna casserole. Tell you that. I'll tell you that for free. What are your thoughts on stuffing, Alex?
I'm not a fan. I don't like moist bread. It's a thing.
Justin?
Stuffing? My mom makes this sausage stuffing.
My mom does too, and it smells good, but it's the moist bread. Yeah. It's just it's a texture thing. It's a texture thing for me.
I'm not, yeah, the texture taste. I mean, I'm not like normal stuffing, not a big fan, but my mom did the cornbread sausage stuffing one year, and I was like, I can mess around with this
Yeah.
because it's cornbread. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, I'm with you. Where stuffing, my wife loves it for some reason, not the biggest fan. Go ahead, Justin.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, my favorite question in an interview. Questions for you. Oh, I did have one. Apple juice or orange juice?
God damn.
I mean,
Justin.
It's so hard.
This could be a new thing.
I love both juices so much, but like
Love a
apple
good
juice
juice.
is afternoon, orange juice for breakfast.
Okay.
If I had to like pick, like I couldn't have one ever
You
again.
do have to pick. It's America.
Keep
It's
orange
America.
juice.
You're keeping orange juice.
Yeah.
I'm an apple
Damn.
juice person.
I'm an
I think
apple
I'd
juice
keep
person.
Apple juice
too.
makes me feel like a little kid. It makes me hyper as shit.
I love
like, to
apple
this
juice.
day, I could drink a big cup of apple juice and start running around like I'm on an Adderall.
Bro, I could house a whole gimmick of apple juice. What
He's
about
making
soda,
shit.
Justin? Are you Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Pepsi.
Alex? Really?
Pepsi all
Coke
day.
is so much better than Pepsi.
I
It's
love,
great.
dude. Coke
I'm a
is
Pepsi
so much.
girl.
Well, do you
In
like
a
the
can.
crisp? Because I think Coke is more crisp than Pepsi.
I feel like Coke is flat. I feel like Coke is nothing but a
What?
flat Pepsi to me.
Oh,
No, I
You
feel
need
like Pepsi's the
Coca-Cola.
flat one.
yeah. That's
Come on, what were you
crazy.
saying, Justin?
Coca-Cola in a can. It's the only way.
Well, did you guys know this? The whole gimmick with McDonald's and
Yeah.
like why they have the best Coke? Like
Comes in
they
canisters.
well, exactly. Like most people get like a bag and they do whatever. They get like a keg of the syrup to keep it fresher and make more, I guess, more sharper carbonated because that's the gimmick. You gotta be sharp.
Interesting.
It's gotta be sharp. No one likes a flat soda.
Mm-mm.
I
I
used
think
to
my
play
son is
baseball with
crying.
this guy named Sam Conver, and he used to just slightly open the caps on his 2 liters to flatten them and drink like that. I was like, bro, you are crazy.
He liked them
That
flat?
is nuts. He liked them flat.
That's
Like,
disgusting.
you are nuts. Nuts.
I knew somebody else. It wasn't like they did it on purpose. Like it was like something my grandmother used to say, like when you have something like you got to drink flat soda. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a tummy, like when you had heartburn or something. She's like, you got to drink flat soda. I'm like, what is flat soda just sitting around?
Sitting around.
Yeah. Who's the douche-maroo with flat soda? So, all right, Alex, we are coming towards the top of time.
Yeah, I think my son is like begging for me at this
Yeah.
point.
So Justin and I have a saying, when it goes by fast, you know it's good. And this one flew by. Justin, Jamie, and I are usually on the same page with this, Alex, but we would love to have you back on the show if you'd be willing to come back on.
Of course.
Is there anything you would like to say to your friends and family before we go?
I thank you all for having me. I really did enjoy my time here. Check me out. Check the Working Podcast out, because Working Perspectives, because like this is it. So I really appreciate the time, and thanks for having me. And I hope I'm invited back again. I hope I didn't make too much of a fool of myself.
I would love to do an in-person with you if you'd want to do an in-person.
One day, let's see let's do it. Let's
see where this goes. We could do it in the office. Yeah, right. But no, we are definitely having you back. You were too much fun. And yeah, no, this was so much fun. Thanks so much for being on, Justin. Oh, also we'll have a link to your Instagram in the description of this episode. So give Alex a follow. And then JDub, what do you got before we rowdy 5,000?
As Creasy said from Man on Fire, I wish you had more time.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow. Stole that one.
Fun.
Huh?
Yeah, good time.
It's good. It was good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Well, speaking of Denzel Washington, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by JDubs, Justin Richardson, and our special guest is the one and only Alex Brown. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can also on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe so we keep bringing you this sweet, sweet content. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Thanks. See you.